And welcome. This is going to be your first lesson for your biology class, and it's just going to be a little bit of an introduction here into what biology is. And you can see here from the picture, it is a lot of different things. Um, this presentation will be rather short, and then you will get into your assignment, and I will then have after this PowerPoint another short video explaining you how to do your assignment. So the first thing we're going to ask, or I'm going to ask you, is what is biology? Okay. What is biology? Well, if we just look at the word, we can break it up into two parts. We can break it up into the bio, which means life, and then we look at the ology, or the LOGY part of it. That simply means the study of. So biology is simply the study of life. But what you have to remember when studying life, you're not just looking at the different types of life, such as plants and animals and fungus. You're thinking about all those different types of life and how they interact and what are all the things that they need to survive, what are their characteristics, what makes it a living thing, what materials does it need to stay alive. So, what is biology? We are going to look at biology in 5 different ways throughout this course. One of those, as we look at the picture, is something called interdependence. All life on this planet relies on the other life that exists on this planet. In other words, we need all the other living things in the world in order to survive. We interact with things constantly. That is known as interdependence. Inheritance will be another topic we'll start with. The picture that you saw there was a picture of the magic molecule DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay, it is the building block of all living things. Every living thing on this planet is made up of DNA that is composed of exactly the same stuff. Okay, as we get into inheritance, we'll talk a lot more about DNA, but we'll also be talking about a guy by the name of Gregor Mendel and his principles behind inheritance, and we'll get into chromosomes and genes and start talking about dominant and recessive genes and the different way those genes can get passed on. Then we will move on to cell structure and function. Every living thing in this world consists of at least one living cell. Okay, those that consist of one living cells are called unicellular organisms. Those like you and I that consist of many cells doing different functions are called multicellular organisms. And then we'll get into things like this, the cycles of matter. There are certain things that living things, or certain materials that living things all need, such as water, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus. All of these things get reused and cycled throughout the environment, from one living thing into the environment to another living thing. We all, again, as we said, rely on one another for what we need. And then finally, our 5th main topic we'll discuss towards the end of the year is evolution. Now, there is a lot more to evolution than just what you saw there in that picture. Evolution is much more detailed than that. Actually, the picture that I showed you doesn't really show what is happening during evolution. We will get into studying the work of a guy by the name of Charles Darwin and his idea of natural selection and how natural selection leads to changes. in different types of organisms, leading to a process called speciation, or the development of a new species or organism. These are the 5 main things that we will be studying throughout the year. Now, as I said, within each of these 5 things, there are many, many, many different subtopics that we can talk about. So that leads us to your first assignment. You are going to create for me a collage using PowerPoint. So you should be able to go into your Launchpad and find PowerPoint, and you will need to open that up. And you are going to create a 3-slide PowerPoint collage consisting of 10 pictures, and each picture must have its own label. All the pictures and labels must be biology related. Now, the way I would like you to do your 3 slides is slide number 1 simply being a title page. You will have a title with a picture and your name on it. The next 2 slides is where you will be making your collage. On each of those 2 slides, you will have 5 different pictures, and each of those pictures must be labeled. So, to give you an idea of what I am talking about, here would be an example of the title page. You can see the title of this collage is "This is Biology." I simply found a picture off the internet to include, and I have my name at the bottom. Please follow this format when setting up your title page. Now, the next 2 slides to your PowerPoint are going to be your pictures and labels. This is very similar to what I did during the PowerPoint. You're simply going to find a picture that is biology related, and then you are simply going to label that picture, similar to what I have done here with interdependence, evolution, cell structure and function, cycles, matter, and inheritance. Okay, now what you are doing are finding things within each of these 5 main categories. Okay, so I do not want you reusing any of my 5 labels or any of my 5 pictures. You must come up with 10 different pictures and tell me the specific topics that each one is discussing within the 5 major topics. On the next little video, I will show you how to do this on a PowerPoint. So go ahead, get your PowerPoint or find your PowerPoint in your Launchpad and get that open.